Murky Divers is the latest lethal-like game introduced to the gaming sphere, and while I found it to be a fresh take on this new genre, it was also the hardest to get started on because the controls and mechanics weren't crazy intuitive, and there wasn't a tutorial or any guides around when I first played it. So I'm here today with a beginner-friendly and spoiler-free tutorial for people who want to hop into the game without getting stumped on how to progress at the very beginning. For starters, Murky Divers is a game where you and your fellow divers are tasked with removing and eliminating all evidence of failed experiments from Big Pharma's various underwater laboratories. The gameplay loop is pretty simple. Find a lab, shred bodies and bioengineered plants in your submarine's shredder, destroy electrical equipment containing evidence of Big Pharma's bad deeds, and survive both monsters and the police while doing so. But if you don't erase enough evidence to meet the compliance standards within the time limit, then you will get arrested and take the fall for Big Pharma's misconduct. And while that's all pretty straightforward, the hard part is figuring out how to find a lab to clear in the first place. Navigating the submarine is a core gameplay element itself, and is easiest done with 4 people since there are 4 stations to keep track of in the process. The first 2 are pretty simple. The first one steers the sub, and the direction you're going in is indicated by the big ol' compass in front of you. The second station determines how fast you're traveling. In some cases, you'll want to go full speed to avoid nasty encounters that will hurt your wallet and your psyche, but going full speed will also alert any nearby police of your location. So if you want to avoid the police, make sure your speed doesn't exceed the noise level threshold indicated by the box on the screen. The other 2 stations deal with the submarine's sonar scanner. One station is a scanner itself, which shows you where labs are located and alerts you of nearby entities. The other station helps you identify what those entities actually are. The main purpose for the scanner is to identify where the labs are, which are indicated by the areas marked inside the dotted yellow circles. But you also want to keep an eye out for the orange dots that show up, and communicate to the person at the station across from you what letter and number combinations are on there, so that they can identify what those orange dots are for your crew. The way you identify the orange dots is to match the top set of lines to the letter and number combination called out by your scanner, and line it up with your reference lines at the bottom. Depending on what that orange dot is, you can either gain money, lose money, or gain police notoriety from running into them. So you'll want to figure out a system to communicate with your divers to ensure a smooth diving experience. Aside from bumping into and running away from these dots, the main thing is to make your way to the wreck expeditions so you can do your main job of eliminating Big Pharma's evidence of misconduct. So once you navigate into a dotted wreck expedition circle, you can pull the lever by the door and start your mission. Once you pull that lever, you have 8 minutes to eliminate evidence to an acceptable amount. You can track your progress using the bar next to your submarine's shredder, and you'll know you've eliminated enough evidence once the bar reaches or surpasses the red arrows on it. You can eliminate evidence by either punching the computers inside the lab, or you can bring evidence back to your submarine and put it in the shredder. To pick up items, you'll want to hold right-click on one-handed items and hold both mouse buttons to pick up two-handed items. You can store one-handed item in your inventory by pressing X while holding it, but you cannot store two-handed items in your inventory. You can buy a shopping cart from your submarine's vending machine to increase your carrying capacity, but I'll get into that later. While exploring the labs, you have limited oxygen and limited health, and you can replenish both of them by going back to your submarine. The oxygen replenishes on its own just by being in the ship, and you can punch the health station to heal yourself back up to full. Just be wary of the monsters inside the lab that are out to get you, and make sure you leave the lab before the police arrive. And if anyone dies during the mission, make sure to retrieve their bodies and shred them too, since your own bodies that you leave behind contribute to your police notoriety level. Also, if you encountered any orange dots that gave you money on your way to the lab, make sure to retrieve your goodies from the net below your submarine before taking off. Since this is a spoiler-free guide, I'll let you all figure out the best ways to navigate these wrecks, but I'll at least go over what I know about the supplies and upgrades you can buy that can help you on your mission. There's a vending machine inside your submarine where you can buy equipment and upgrades using the money you earn from your missions. You can scroll through the machine's catalog with W and S while interacting with it, and buy items by typing in the corresponding letter and number combination, and then hitting E. To equip a suit upgrade, you'll want to go inside the shower and place your upgrade capsule inside the slot. And once you interact with it, you can activate your upgrades using Q and E as indicated below your health bar at the top left. You can only equip 2 upgrades at a time, and I'm not sure if you can replace them since I haven't bought more than 2 yet, so you'll have to figure that out for yourself. For the station upgrades, you'll want to put the CD you purchased into the CD slot located at the corresponding station. I don't know what these do either, but since this is a spoiler-free guide, that's probably fine. Lastly, if your police notoriety is getting too high, you can buy bribes from the vending machine that will lower your notoriety by 1 star, which is good to know since if you fill up all 6 stars, then your run is over. But aside from dealing with specific monsters and traps you'll encounter on your runs, that's all I know about Murky Divers so far, and I think it's all you'll need to know to get your own runs going. So let me know if you found this guide helpful and what you think of Murky Divers so far, and subscribe to the channel for more Murky Divers content in the future. I plan on doing some solo runs despite the added difficulty of manning 4 separate stations alone, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was possible. I also play Lethal Company, and I'm learning how to play Pilgrim, so stick around if you like that stuff too, and follow me on Twitch if you want to keep up with my live streams of the runs. But that's all I have for this video, so I hope to see you all supporting Big Pharma now that you've had this comprehensive onboarding experience.